everyone, and welcome to a new series that I'm going to be doing called Modinization, where I explore various mods on EU3. So today I'm going to be playing Ancient World mod, which if you don't know what it is an overhaul of the game and pretty much adds a starting date of 30 AD. You can play anywhere from 30 AD to 2013. Now this game has 6 starting scenarios before the Grand Campaign in 1399. So they have a 30 AD, 260, 380, 395, 927, and 1000. They also have 2 more after the last one, which is 1907 and 2013. I will say this mod is still in development. It's by no means done. I have not actually played a game, so I don't know how that works, but I do know the map is not finished on the present day one in 2013. I will show you some examples, which will be quite obvious if you actually loaded it up. It's clearly not done, but the creators, developers, whatever you want to call them, they have said that it's not done, so don't hate on them or anything, because it's not complete, and it looks like it'll be fantastic when it is actually complete. I'll show you some of the discrepancies that I have with this 2013 mod. Obviously, the 2013 scenario clearly not done, because the United States is not as large as it should be. Mexico is larger than it should be. There are still native tribes here. British still own the west coast of the United States. Canada's actually done. Canada's pretty much done by the looks of it. There's a lot of other things that are wrong with it. They have, they have done a lot, and there's still clearly in development. It's not. I don't know how close it is to being done, but it's definitely not done. Some nations don't have leaders, but you can still play as those nations. I loaded up one game just to take a look at something, and I didn't actually play at all. I didn't unpause it at all or anything, or look at anything. But I did notice when I loaded up, he didn't have a leader, or the nation I chose didn't have a leader, and it just popped up a screen saying the leader has died, and then I think it automatically gives you a leader, like randomly or something. But I think that's how that works right now. Some countries do have preset rulers. Like if you go to Republic or People's Republic of China here, you will see. Oh wait, they don't have. Never mind. If you go to North Korea, they have a ruler, Kim Jong-un. Some other countries do. I don't know exactly who does. You also notice that there's no flag up here. If you hover over it, there is a flag down there at the bottom. You can see the flag. It doesn't pop up when you click on it though. It's blank. That's fine with me anyways. The flags for some of the countries, if it's a country that exists in the game, they have the flag that exists in the game. Some countries have blank flags. Let's see if I can find one here. I don't think a lot of them do in this particular scenario. It's more like in the more ancient times. Trying to find a blank flag. There's not a lot of them in this modern time. A lot of them are in the ancient time when I was looking at them. A lot of the ancient nations that didn't really have a flag, or the flag's not well known or easy to find. Nowadays, they don't have a flag. I don't think I'm going to find one, the modern one, because every country here has a flag that can be found. So if you look here, Mali, it's in the original game. They have their original flag. But if you go to nations that aren't in the original game, that were created, like Niger here, you'll see that Niger has its modern day flag. Nigeria, modern day flag. Benin has their game flag, and Ghana, modern flag. Cameroon, modern flag. South Africa has their apartheid flag. They don't have the modern one. They have the one from the apartheid. I've never really played to when South Africa becomes free. I'm assuming because they have the apartheid flag, and following the fact that every nation that's actually in the game originally has their original flag, I'm assuming apartheid or South Africa does become an independent nation, probably either by revolt or maybe an event, probably in the late 19th, early 20th century. That's when South Africa becomes independent, but they have their apartheid flag. It's no big deal. Well, it's not really a big deal. I don't really. The flags aren't a huge issue. Surprised Peru. Nah, I guess Peru wouldn't have the Incan flag because Inca expanded beyond Peru. It's like Bolivia and also parts of Chile. I don't think Ecuador though. So some of these are pretty much done. Central America seems pretty much done, and the Caribbean's actually pretty much done. They actually have the Bahamas. I was kind of surprised to see such a small nation as the Bahamas included. Uh, Puerto Rico is part of the United States. I thought at first that Puerto Rico would be independent, but would be, well, not independent, but would be its own nation as a vassal to the United States. But no, they're part of the United States completely. We got, you know, some small nations here: Barbados, Dominica. You get really small nations included in this game, which I think is very nice to include those nations. You know, that's nice. They got a bunch of nations, Jamaica, but obviously it's not completely done. As you know, that's clear. That's fine. That's fine. It's still in development. It'll be fantastic when it is actually completed. Um, it's no big deal. The game, I imagine that they added this probably later on because the mod is called Ancient Times, or Ancient World actually. So I was actually surprised to see any new scenarios added, any new starting points, which they added two. In 1907, independence of New Zealand, and then present day, which is 2013. So I was very surprised to actually see those in this mod because it was called Ancient World, so I was expecting just ancient mods. And actually, show you something. If you go to the original mods, the original starting dates, they've actually changed some things as well. So you can play the original campaign time periods and have a different experience, as you may notice or may not notice. The Holy Roman Empire is one nation. It's not the entire empire, of course, and I'm not sure if they include like the HRE kind of pact, as you call it, maybe the HRE pact of sorts, where, you know, you have a bunch of different countries, 30 some odd countries, maybe more, 50, whatever, in the HRE, and then you have an emperor, and pretty much you can't declare on any HRE country without casus belli unless you want a nation such as Austria, Bohemia to declare war on you. So I don't know if that empire is still included, because the Holy Roman Empire is an entire nation instead of several nations. I don't know if they have that. I haven't actually jumped in here and checked that out. So we got some new nations in this scenario as well. That's a blank flag. I assume they will add those later. It's not done, so I'm assuming that they're going to add them later on. So we have the Holy Roman Empire here. That's one of the bigger changes to Europe anyways. They've added Normandy as a nation that's playable. They've added Wales as a playable nation right here. They've added Orkney as a playable nation as well. So you probably, like, as Scotland, you would probably conquer them, and as Orkney, you'd probably try to, you know, unite Scotland. Let's see. Navarre is still there. Aragon, Castile, Granada. They added the Umayyad Caliphate. They added the Fatimid Caliphate here. as well as over here. I think they replaced the Momayokes. The Mo, Mo, I think that's what it is. I'm not entirely certain because I forgot how it's spelled. I think the Momayokes, the Moma, something like that. So they've added a ton of nations in Africa. For these later starting periods, for the earlier starting periods, they've added a ton of nations in Africa as well. It's a huge amount of nations, so it might actually be fun to jump in there as a small African nation and just gobble up some countries. That would be nice. That would be probably pretty fun. They've added a nation over here. Several different tribes of sorts, so it might actually be fun to jump in there as one of these African tribes, and even though you're probably going to get your face rolled in by a European nation later on, it might be fun to just form an African nation. Well, not necessarily a nation of Africa, but, you know, form a decent-sized kingdom within Africa. They've also added a ton of nations into South America, so that might also be fun to just jump in there and go to town. They've also added a ton of natives, North American natives, as well. They've added a ton of different tribes, so it'll definitely be fun to, say, jump in as the Navajo and just gobble everything up. I think that would be fun, because before they only had, like, they had the Creek, Cherokee, Shawnee. They didn't have these guys. They had the Iroquois, Huron. Trying to think. I don't think they had the Inuit. I feel like they might have had another one someplace out west, but I'm not sure. I think they had like one by themselves way out here somewhere. Also added a bunch of natives. So I think that's cool. So they messed around with the original map, or with the original starting period. So if you go to a different one, you know, it's gonna be different. It's going to be different than the original game. There's going to be more nations. Some nations are going to be different. I mean, you know, Wales is now a playable nation. Ireland's not a playable nation, but you know, you got the Ireland's pretty much the same as it was before. But Wales has been added. Surprised that they didn't add Cornwall as well, but I guess historically they really, I guess, weren't that separate from England. Although I know they are a nation in the game, in the original game. They don't start out independent, of course, but I've seen England actually be forced to release Cornwall, which is just one little province right here. But Burgundy kicked the butt, and I was allied with England. And, well, they didn't kick my butt, but England was just a bunch of wimps. We were doing all right. England just pussied out. So I'm trying to see what else, because I explored this a little bit. I only jumped in the game briefly. I didn't actually play at all. I just wanted to check some stuff out. Familiarize myself a little bit. But I haven't actually jumped into a game yet. I haven't actually played. Well, I did jump into a game, but I didn't actually play in it at all. I didn't even look at like technology or anything like that. I just wanted to take a quick glance at actually inside the game. So I think this game will be pretty neat. So I'm just exploring all these. I already went through like all these scenarios just about, and looking at some of the differences made to these scenarios. See, in this one, the Inca exists. The Inca did not exist in the last one. I'm fairly certain the Inca did not exist in the last one. I think, yeah, they did. Okay, never mind. I'm stupid. They didn't exist in this one. Over here, I think. No, I'm probably stupid. Nope, I'm not stupid this time. This time, I am not stupid. So I don't know, like, if you can form nations. I'm assuming that if you conquer all these nations as one of these nations, like, say, I don't want to say Cusco, because I believe they're the ones who created the Incas. So I think if you took Chimo here and you conquered everyone else, I don't know if you could form the Inca nation or if you're just stuck as a Chimo forever. I don't know if you do that as you could in the other, in the original game. I didn't even see these two nations down here. Mapuche. Yeah, no, I'm going to try that other one. It's not happening. So anyways, what I planned to do was to actually, because there's so many nations to choose from, and just about anywhere that you choose from, you're going to have a different experience. We're going to jump right here to, we're going to jump to 30 AD. And as you see, the Roman Empire, huge as a mother, and I'm very curious to see how powerful they are. In 30 AD, they're at pretty much the height of their power. They're extremely powerful, and they are not on the decline in the least. But if you go here to 395, although they're larger than they were in the 30 campaign, they do have more land area. They're actually on the decline at this point in time. At this point in time, power-wise and historical-wise, the Roman Empire is on its way out. And I'm also going to show you some. So these starting dates, they do not stay that way, or let's say everything isn't based on these starting dates like in the original game. So you can click between these starting dates, and you can see all the changes, all the new nations that you can play as, all the different nations becoming more powerful, larger. But if you skip ahead here 10 years, 10 more years, and you can see the Roman Empire has expanded into Britannia. And well, it's in 50 AD, but the next scenario is not till 260, so it does expand. You can, jump this to like 100 AD if you want to start in 100 AD instead of 260 or 30. You could jump there. And as you can see, the Roman Empire is slowly conquering the British Isles, and now we're at 100 AD. It's a little bit different. It's different than the 260 campaign. It's different than the 30 campaign, so it does change as you skip years down here manually. So I'm going to be playing in the 30 campaign for just about every I'm going to split it up into continents. I'm going to play different continents, and I'm actually split some continents up into subcontinents, which I will then play, because there's so many nations to choose from. I want to kind of limit that down, knock it down, so that there's more variation. Like if you play in the Middle East, it's going to be different than playing in Africa. If you play right here by the Roman Empire, close to the Roman Empire, it's going to be a huge variation from playing, say, in Asia. So I'm going to split it up, and I'm going to play by continent. I'm going to split up most of the continents into subcontinents or sections. So essentially, in Africa, I plan to do North Africa, which is going to be pretty much from here all the way over, every nation above here, all the way up to North Africa. I will play as one nation from within here. And I don't know how long I'm going to play for. I don't know if I'm going to play 100 years, 200 years per nation. Probably not that much, probably about 100, if that, per nation, or until I get conquered, which is possible. Because I like to pick minor nations. I don't like to pick anything too powerful. Although I might pick some powerful nations in here, I'm definitely not going to play as Rome because my micromanagement skills are less than par. So playing as Rome is probably not something that's going to happen. And for Europe, however, I am going to be playing the 395 campaign. I don't know. Like, I kind of wanted to play the 927. Actually, we're not going to play a set campaign. We're actually going to play at the beginning of the fall of the Roman Empire after Rome already fell. Because the thing is, I don't want Rome kicking me in the teeth, because it'll hurt. I like my teeth. I need them to eat food and stuff. So, I don't know when they're actually going to be gone. There's such a huge gap between the 395 and 927 that I don't know. Alright, 505. Start here maybe? We got the Ostrogoths, Visigoths, Franks. Ostrogoths and Visigoths are the ones who really conquered Rome. We also got the Vandals, the Vandal Roman Empire. Mauritania. So I think we might play in the 5. Actually, screw it. We'll play 395. We're not going to play as Rome. We're going to play as a different nation. Actually, never mind. We'll play 30 here because there's I think, I don't know who we're going to play as, but you know, there's a lot of different ways to avoid the Romans. So anyways, how I'm going to split it up, we got North America, so pretty much everything above here. Probably not going to be playing as the Shawnee, Cherokee, or Creek. Probably not the Iroquois, the Lenape, the Huron, or the Algonquin. Probably not be playing as the Swampy Cree or the Inuit. I will probably not be playing as the Tlingit or the Kwakiutl or the Coos or the Pomo. I'll be playing as one of these nations in here. And the main reason behind that is quite plain and simple, is that if you've ever played as the Incan in the original game, if you do not have anybody around you, the game will be extremely boring, and there's no way I could actually make anybody actually want to watch that. Because if you've ever played as Incan, you'll know that you pretty much, you start out as this not giant, as this decent sized nation right here, and there's one province right here, Chenchan, which is part of another nation. They only own that one province. They're very weak, and within the first month of the game, you can conquer them. I mean, you start out with a mission to conquer them, and you cast a spell as well. So you conquer them really within the first month of the game, and you gain that province. Well, then what do you do after that? After that, you sit there, and you wait, and you wait, and you wait, because there's absolutely nothing you can do. You can't expand your territory any further into these undeveloped lands. You can't really conquer anybody or battle anybody or even do any diplomacy, because you're the only nation here, and you don't, you know, everything else is terra incognita except for like this area right here. That's all you can see as Incans, is like this area, and there's no countries in here as well. So I'm gonna probably do some experimenting off camera on my own time without recording, and see if it's possible for you to take one of these nations and develop these territories out here and kind of expand out there. Because if you can, then I might change it up a little bit, and I might not do that, because that'll allow me to, like, if I was playing as one of these nations, which I probably won't play as one of these 5 nations, because you know it's a bit more interesting than the original Incan, than original Inca in the original game, because you got, you know, 4 other nations around here that you're not going to conquer within the first month, and you know, you got somebody to socialize with. But if you do happen to conquer them, you're going to probably have a lot of time left in the game. So if you can't just like get through here, and then you can like not necessarily conquer these guys, they're huge, but they probably can't support a lot of troops. I imagine they probably don't have a lot of manpower in here, because they probably don't have high populations. but at least getting in there so you can do some kind of diplomacy, some kind of interaction with them to make it less boring. See, as Incans, all you know is this area right here. You don't know anything else, and you can't go and explore anything else. And pretty much it's you versus this one tiny nation that you conquer within the first month of the game, and obviously you can leave them there, but they're not going to really make the game more interesting just leaving them there. It's not going to really help the game. Actually, it's more interesting to conquer them, because then at least at that point in time you have to fight rebels, because they'll keep rebelling, keep having rebels, so at least you'll have something to do hunting rebels. That's pretty much all you do as Incans. If you conquer them, you just sit there and wait, and occasionally a rebellion will happen. You put it down, and you just sit there and wait for another one until the Europeans show up, or, you know, I'm pretty sure until the Europeans show up. I don't think Asian nations can come here. Maybe they can. I don't know. But you just sit here and wait until a civilized nation shows up and either kicks your butt or becomes your friend. Most likely they kick your butt, because all European nations, and I don't know about any other civilized nations, but all European nations, as soon as they discover a native nation, they gain an immediate casus belli against them, which as a European nation is awesome. But as a nation in Africa, as a nation in South America, as a nation in North America, that's not so awesome, is it? Because you are going to get your face smashed in, and there is nothing you can do about it. Because Europeans just have more technology. So I'm going to be playing in this area in North America. It's one of these nations. I'm not going to reveal it until I actually play. I'm going to be playing in Central America here as one of these nations. I will be playing in South America as one of these nations in the middle right here. I'll be playing in Africa, I already said, North Africa here, Central Africa here, as well as over here, and then South Africa here, this area. I will be having the Middle East will be another one, so I'll be playing as a Middle Eastern nation. I will also have India as another one, so we'll be playing as a nation in India, modern day Pakistan, as well as over here in Bangladesh area. I'll also be playing in Asia, which will be anywhere from Japanese nations, Korea, China, as well as these nations up here and here, as well as Tibet. Tibet will be included in that. And then Southeast Asia, which will include all these nations in here, as well as pretty much from where India was all the way down here to the southeast. As well as these island nations here will also be included that, as well as the one nation in Australia, the Uluru, and also New Zealand, the Aotearoa. I hope I pronounced that right. So that's pretty much how it's going to go. I think I covered just about everywhere except right in here. I'm probably not going to be playing right in here because there doesn't seem to be a lot to do. I mean, the land's huge, which means transporting troops throughout this land is going to take a very long time. There aren't a lot of nations here. It's just a lot of large nations. So I don't think it'll be that fun to play in there, or that enjoyable. I'll also be playing in Europe, but not as the Roman Empire. If people want me to play as the Roman Empire, I'll give it a shot, but that's probably not going to last very long because I am terrible at micromanaging my stuff. I played as Portugal one time, and although I really love Portugal, I cannot micromanage worth a damn. So I was like, I had a bunch of wars going on in Europe because Great Britain, well, it wasn't Great Britain, it was England. They weren't Great Britain yet. But England just drags you into a bunch of wars. And it's really, really, really annoying. But I fought in them anyways because I don't want Great Britain to be mad at me or anybody else to be mad at me or to lose prestige. I don't think you gain infamy from backing down, but maybe. So I joined anyways. I fought, pretty much didn't accomplish anything. But I had like wars going on here, and I was trying to send ships to colonize Africa, and my multitasking micromanagement is terrible. So I had like ships and soldiers waiting for orders for like ever before I finally realized that they had reached their destination, so that's just not going to happen. I mean, I'll play as it if people want me to, just to see how it is to be the Roman Empire, but play as the Roman Empire, but it probably won't last more than probably 10, 15 game years, just simply because I'm not very good at micromanaging, and this nation, the Roman Empire, is huge. Now, what I might do, I think here, no, here, no, here, I might go into the 395 campaign and play as Byzantium or the Roman Empire, one or the other. It's pretty much, even though this isn't called Eastern Rome, it's called Byzantium. It's pretty much West Rome, East Rome. That's pretty much what it is. Even though they aren't called East Rome in the game, or the East Roman Empire, they're called Byzantium, which is really what they became, but it's pretty much Eastern Roman Empire. So I'll play as either or. This just cuts it down to about half as much that I have to do, or at least multitask, which, I mean, this is still a huge amount of land. I mean, look at this. All the way over North Africa, Italy, France, the Iberia, all the way through to like parts of southern Central Europe and parts of Western Eastern Europe, and then southern British Isles. But if people want me to, I will. I do not plan on doing it. I plan on playing as, one of these kind of barbarians or tribes, and Northern Europe, really possibly playing as a British nation over here, uh, or Ireland, going all the way over. I'm not going to, I don't feel that Europe has a huge amount of nations, so I'm not going to be splitting it between like north, south. Well, definitely not south, because south's like all Rome. This would be like all I'd consider part of south, would be these nations right here. It's not a huge amount to choose from. So Europe's not going to be split between east and west either, just simply because the Roman Empire takes up so much land, especially in Europe, that there really aren't as many nations as, say, Africa, which, I mean, even splitting it up between like north, central, and south, there's still a lot of nations in the north, and I really don't want to split it up between like northeast and northwest, which, I mean, I could do like split right up here, and everything to the west would be one, and then everything to the east, but the east has like a lot of larger nations. They don't have like the smaller nations, which is fine, except for the fact that the East doesn't have as much variation as the West would. There are much more nations in the West, so that kind of split wouldn't be very beneficial to really anything, because it'd still be a lot to choose from, and there'd be less to choose from over here. So just gonna tough it out and play as, keep this variation as low as I really can, or as high as I can. I mean, I got confused. I know I'm stupid, but there's still a lot of nations to choose from, even splitting it up like that. But I'm going to do that way. That way there's more variation. People can see more nations, more different parts of the world. I mean, you're going to have a different experience if you're playing in Africa versus playing up here as the Vandals. If you're playing as, let's pick a small nation here. Which one do I want to choose? I know it doesn't really matter, but I have pickiness. So say you're playing as Igala right here. So if you play as Igala here, you're going to have a completely different experience versus playing as the Vandals or the Goths up here, who are going to have a different experience than than playing as the Khmer here, or or the Uluru. Now I'm going to tell you, I'm going to do some experimenting around and see if you can actually take territory that's unsettled. Because if I do, then the Uluru, as well as the Aotearoa, will be definitely in my selection possibility. But as of right now, I don't know if you can actually expand your territory. So if you can't, then those two nations are definitely not going to be selected, because it's going to be extremely boring just sitting there and waiting and waiting and waiting. I mean, there's absolutely nothing to do. At least Inca has like some action. These guys have like no action. They have absolutely no neighbors. So it'd probably be very boring, even if you could colonize these territories, because you got to wait probably a long time before you get up here to the coast and actually be able to interact with these island nations here. So anyways, that's going to do it for now. I will be revealing in the next episode who I am going to be playing as and which section I will start at. Because I'm not going to reveal any section that I'm going to be starting at until the video actually comes up. I mean, you'll know when you watch the video, because it'll probably be in the title. So not much of a surprise. You read the title and be like, oh, well, that's what's happening. I know, but it's not going to be revealed until the video is up, because then you won't be able to see the title till it's up. Haha, gotcha. So I will decide where I will play, and if anybody wants to, they can make requests for where I play as next, and possibly who I play as next. I will, for the first one, definitely be randomly, well, not randomly, I'll be biasedly picking a nation and biasedly picking a region based on where I want to play. And for the next ones, I will also do the same, unless people make requests. If people make requests, I will take them into consideration. I am not a jerk. I will listen to what people want. Even if you wanted me to play as like China, or the Han as they're called, I would do it, even though they're huge and I'm not good with large nations. I would still do it if people wanted me to do it, but other than that, I would not play as them of my own accord. So yeah, I'm gonna end this video right here, and the next video will reveal who I'm playing as well as the sub-region that I'm playing as, which could be going over them again. I know you're probably already stopped watching the video like 10 minutes ago. But we have Asia here, Southeast Asia, which includes all these island nations, India, which includes modern-day Pakistan, which only has 2 playable nations, as well as over here in modern-day Bangladesh, the Middle East, which includes this ginormous area here, North Africa, all these nations, Central Africa, all these nations, Southern Africa, all those nations, as well as Europe, all these nations, South America, which will be excluded to really these nations, possibly somewhere else, possibly the Incas, because there are a lot of nations there. It would take a long time to conquer them all. Possibly these guys over here, although there's only 2 other than yourself. The next region is Central America, and then last but not least, well, not Central America, but Central Northern America. Central North America? That's a thing, right? I think it's a thing. So anyways, I'm going to leave the video there, and have a nice day.